Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'd like to do a video that's a little bit different. I'd like to talk about the chess cheating problem. So I'm very interested to hear from any viewers and subscribers on whether or not you've had any problems or suspected problems with people cheating. So on my YouTube channel, I do a Quest for 2000 series where I just play games and then afterwards I review them. So I recently played this game and I just kind of got, I guess, blown off the board by a player, who was supposed to be a little higher than me, so I figured, oh, well, they must have played a really good game, but I thought the game was maybe suspicious, but it's just hard to tell. So here was the accuracy rating. I played at 70%, so I played okay, but I could have played better. They played at 93%, so I thought, all right, maybe they just had a really good game. But then they had 3 brilliant moves, 2 great moves. So, I've had some games with some great moves listed. Brilliant moves, maybe I'm lucky to get one in a game every now and then. But they had 3 brilliant moves. So, I don't know, we'll take a look at this. But anyway, before I continue, I would just like to bring your attention up here where it says their account was closed for fair play issues. And then I went and looked at their history, and they lost some games, and I don't know, it's hard to tell if somebody could be cheating or not. Maybe they don't cheat in every game. Maybe they get mad and lose some games, and then they pull out their phone and kind of plug the game in there, and that's harder to do in blitz and bullet games. But in a longer game, if you're playing the moves on your phone in these rapid games, somebody could easily cheat that way and then just plug in a move when it looks like it's going to make a difference in the game. Anyway, let's take a look at this. So 70% accuracy for me, 93 for them. They had, no inaccuracies, no mistakes. They had 1 miss. So I had 3 inaccuracies and 4 mistakes. And, in my defense for this 70% accuracy, when you're under a heavy attack by your opponent, it's easier to go wrong and make mistakes. So, I'm sure that dragged my accuracy rating down. Here, it also says I played at a 1450 level. So I played the opening at 100% accuracy versus their 77.6. And that could be the opening that they picked, which was, I believe, the Stafford Gambit, which is kind of tricky anyway. But then my middle game fell to 55.1. And that's just because I was under a heavy attack and it was just hard to see all the tactics that were going on. And then their middle game was 99.1, in a tricky tactical game. Now, let's start taking a look at this game. That could have been because, either they had some computer assistance, or maybe they just play this opening so often and know the attacking lines and what to do. Maybe that's how they played so well. So it's just hard to tell. But I was suspicious in the game. They played at a 2300 level, which is possible because I've had games where, my rating's 1600, and I've had some games where I played at a 2000 or higher level. Now 2300, that's pushing it. I may have had a couple games where I played at that level, but it was not in any crazy tactical game. So I don't know. Let's take a look and see what you all think. I'd really like to hear from anybody who watches this video on what you think about cheating. If you've come across people that you thought may have cheated, Okay, so we started out e4, e5. Let me put the analysis on here and see what the computer says about all this as well. So knight to f3, attacking their pawn. They play the Petrov's defense. So, a common book move is just to capture. And in the past, normally people would play d6, driving your knight back, and then they would pick up this pawn and keep things even. But these days, with YouTube and all the videos out there and the computers, everybody is trying to come up with tricky gambits and traps. So the Stafford Gambit is played, which is this move here. Now this is a miss. So my opponent had one miss in the whole game, and this was it. And it's just because it's part of this tricky gambit. So really, they didn't have any mistakes or errors because they were playing this on purpose as part of this gambit. So here, the computer says you should just go ahead and take that knight. So you capture, and now what they do, the computer recommends, maybe capturing towards the center, but in this Stafford Gambit, you want to keep your pawns all together, capture away from the center, and then you open up the line for this bishop to assist in an attack on the king side. So now the computer recommends that I play f3 here. I ended up playing, I guess, the third best move, d3. And now it's saying that's the best move. So just to protect this pawn. So right now I'm ahead by one pawn. And so now they just develop. Okay, so this seems like a normal move. They're putting pressure on this weak f pawn. So the computer here recommends the best move being bishop to e2, so I played that. And then now the computer recommends knight to g4 here. Is that correct? Because, I guess there could be a tactic here. If they play knight to g4 and I capture that, let's see, there may be some tactic involved. We could take a quick look at it. Knight to g4, then once I capture, now they move queen to h4 here, threatening a mate in one, and then I should go ahead and castle. Let's see, like this, and then you have bishop takes g4, attacking my queen, and now queen to e1 here. So, this is a tricky gambit opening, but white, with correct play, but it's pretty tough to find all these moves. White should remain ahead because he has that extra pawn. Now it looks like black should either castle queen side or king side here. I'd probably recommend castling queen side. And then you have this rook activated down the middle here. And I don't know, all these pieces are lining up on white's king side where he's castled. You could even, I don't know, march this h pawn up and get the rooks involved. And it looks pretty dangerous. Okay, so back to what happened in the game. I played bishop to e2. And then they played h5 here. So the computer says this is good, but they wanted that knight to g4 move. But this is all part of the attack. Now this h-pawn will allow the knight to push forward, and if I capture, the pawn can capture and open up the h-file for the rook, and maybe the queen to threaten a mate down here if I castle kingside. So this Stafford Gambit, I encountered it maybe months ago. I played one other game against somebody, and I actually played a little better. I avoided castling and played h3 to keep, try and keep his pieces out of here. And I ended up winning the game, I believe, because I just put up a stronger defense. But when I did the review, it said that I should have castled at some point, and I think I got the move orders wrong and just castled immediately here. So this is a mistake. White is still ahead here, but c3 would have been a better move because then I could play d4 and close off this bishop, attack the bishop. But now we have knight to g4. So, the computer says this is a great move, of course, because you can, if I capture that knight, it can open up the H file. The queen comes down here, and the attack begins. So here I played c3. Excuse me. Let me go back here. Knight. I castle. The knight jumps in, and then I played c3. So I got this move order wrong. I should have played c3 first, and then maybe castled later. So now, because I'm already castled, this gives them, and the computer's saying I should have just captured this. I guess we could take a look at that. The computer's saying I should have just captured here. They capture. Now the H file is open. White is still ahead, but his lead is pretty small here now. Now it's saying bishop to f4 to help protect that H pawn. But here, let's see, they recommend e6 and white stays ahead. Now, what else could I do? We're starting to run out of options here. So, I misplayed the opening, and then I was just trying to hang on and defend. So they played queen to d6, threatening an immediate checkmate here. So now the best move is to capture that knight. But then I thought, well, then the H file will be opened. What do I do then? So I guess we could take a quick look at that. But I don't know. You see how this is a tricky opening, and it makes it really hard to defend when you're not quite familiar with a tricky gambit opening and they have a heavy attack building up. So here it's saying I should take. Then they take, opening up the H file, of course. Threatening a mate here on H1. So now you have this, and I probably, I don't know if I would have noticed this move. You just give up the pawn. Now if they take, you can try and pin the queen to the king. So they recommend G6 here, and now maybe you threaten a move in here and go after this H pawn again. Now either bishop to f4, protecting the H pawn, or you could play d4 immediately, just attacking this bishop. All right. So in the game we had g3. I'm trying to defend here, but this was a mistake. Now they play. Let's see what they played in this move or in this game. They just push h4, so a brilliant move. And this brilliant move, maybe it's not that hard to find, but still, it's kind of tricky because your knight is left under attack there, but the bishop is attacking the queen. So now it's saying I should play d4. What did I do in the game? I played bishop to f4, attacking the queen. So, I thought this move was okay, but it's a mistake. d4 would have been better. And now we have this move, queen to g6, which the computer says is excellent, but that's the second best move. Looks like immediately capturing would have been better, capturing the g pawn But my opponent plays this, and then, now I play d4, and we have this, ignoring the attack on the bishop and just immediately attacking here. So, I just capture that. Then they capture here, another brilliant move. So, I don't know. What do you all think? Are these normal moves, or does this look a little suspicious? This guy has a crazy attack building up here. So what do? It says queen to d3 is the best move. I didn't find that, of course. I played capture here, and then, which is an inaccuracy. Better would have been queen to e1, now the computer is saying. So we have this capture. Now my queen is under attack. So I block here, and then we have this move, another great move. So here the best move is king to f2, but it looks like I'm already losing. And if we go back, these are some pretty crazy tactics. I'm attacking his rook. I'm attacking both of his bishops. So tricky stuff. So he just retreats there. What should I play here? I played king to g2. Did I have something better there? Should I have brought my queen over to e1 maybe? That's the third best move, but it looks like white is just pretty much losing now. So I go up here to help defend the bishop that the rook is attacking. But now what do we have? The bishop adding more pressure there. So I attack the bishop. But now we have a sacrifice. So I go ahead and capture. We have this retreat. Now I defend with the queen. And then queenside castling, getting ready to put pressure here. So I play f4, maybe threatening to fork these two pieces. But now we have this check. So that was probably bad because I left myself open to this check here. So, not good. And now it's just a mate in 6. So, what could I have done better here? Not much. They recommend b4 and white is still losing. So anyway, the game ended like this. I'm under attack. The best move is to block with the rook, but they capture. I capture, and then check. And so here my time just ended up running out. But let's see. The game may have continued with something like this. It recommends I block with the queen, which, that looks terrible because now I could just capture here. They capture with the queen, and then they'll just pick this off. So queen captures, the king starts running, but then we have a check here, and then mate. So anyway, that's how the game could have ended, and I just kind of got blasted off the board. So have you all had any problems, or games you thought, have you run into this where people have been banned from chess.com? Here it says they closed their account. I went back and I looked at some of their games, and they did have other games with high percentage wins, high percentage accuracy rates, and I don't know, some of it looked suspicious. So, I imagine in this Stafford Gambit, that starts off like this, it's kind of, on autopilot. Once they take this right here and you capture this way, it opens everything up towards the king side. So, if they protect this pawn, the computer says, D3 is best. I mean, I guess I could maybe even try knight to C3, but the computer likes this move. And then you just develop your bishop. You're possibly ready to castle, but usually you want to use this H file to attack. So the computer liked this move. Now I'm ready to castle. And they play that. Now here it says I should have played that C3 move immediately. Here is best, because I'm threatening to play D4 and just shut out this bishop. So now, what do they recommend? And if they go here, is that something a Stafford Gambit player would do? If any of you out there play this Stafford Gambit, the computer is recommending bishop to E, or actually developing this bishop to E6, or either retreating. But, I mean, would a Stafford Gambit player jump down here? I guess, at this point, you could just, you could ignore that, attack the bishop, driving them away. There's just a lot of options here. So, all right. Well, before this video, drags on too long, I guess we'll see what they could have done, or what the computer recommends. Bishop to E6. But see, black is down material. So if you don't get an attack going and you just play normally, now it's saying I should go ahead and castle. So if I castle, and then it recommends what? Queen to D7. And then D4, blocking the bishop out. Well, you get the idea. At this point, white has a strong center. They're ahead by a pawn, and they've kind of stopped the Stafford Gambit. But I don't know. Is this knight to G4 move something that a Stafford Gambit player would use? I would have to just try and do some research on this Stafford Gambit, which maybe I'll do a video about it in the future. All right. Well, if you've watched the Quest for 2000 videos that I've been doing, I've had a couple viewers leave comments about this specific game, and one of them brought it to my attention that this individual was banned, not long after we played. And so I'm just curious, have any of you out there had trouble, or had people you've played that were banned? Is this common? And also, for any of those individuals out there that actually thought, maybe I'll use my phone, or if you think about cheating, I would recommend that you don't do that. I can say that I've never cheated in chess because, one, it wouldn't feel like a real win, because if you cheat, you didn't actually win the game. Your computer did, or your phone, or whatever program. So, I'm definitely against cheating. And also, I can see people getting mad. They lose a bunch of games and they're getting frustrated. They're getting angry because some people don't like to lose. I don't like to lose games, but you miss out on one of the greatest learning opportunities when you lose games. You can go back and see what you did wrong, what your opponent did right. You actually, most of the time learn a lot more from the games that you lose than the ones you win, because, if you're winning, you're thinking, oh, I must be doing, not everything, but I must be doing something right because I'm winning. And you may not take a look at the game as closely, but when you have a loss, especially if it's a disappointing, frustrating loss, if you go back and take a look at that game, try and figure out what you did wrong, you can really learn a lot. So, definitely I would encourage people to refrain from even thinking about cheating, because even though it's tough to lose, you do learn so much from your losses, probably more than your wins, because each time you lose, it's the opportunity to figure out, well, what did I do wrong? What did my opponent do right? Can I use that in my games to win against my opponents? Anyway, I'm just kind of curious, have you had issues with cheating? And remember, you can learn a lot more from your losses. So try not to be too discouraged if you're losing games. Just try and figure out, what at least one lesson you can learn from each loss on how to play better in the future. All right, well, I'll end this video here. Please like and subscribe to my channel to support the channel. If you're interested in checking out the other videos I have available, and you can check out the Quest for 2000 series, where I slowly try and climb up the rating on chess.com, the rapid chess rating bracket. And anyway, thank you for watching. Leave comments, suggestions, any requests if there's something you would like to see in future chess videos. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.